Ashleigh Merchant, who represents Michael Roman, he's a former Trump campaign official and a co-defendant in this case, was the lawyer who filed that motion that rocked this prosecution, revealing the romantic relationship between District Attorney Willis and the now former special prosecutor in this case, Nathan Wade. That motion to disqualify Willis from the case was denied by Judge Scott McAfee, but he nevertheless excoriated Fani Willis for how she handled the hiring of Wade and how she testified on the stand, saying, quote, an odor of mendacity clung to this case. Ashleigh Merchant joins us now. Thanks for being with us. So Judge McAfee, you bet. So Judge McAfee recently said you and the other co-defendants in this case can now appeal his decision to deny your motion to disqualify Fani Willis. Will you? What will you ask for?
All right, my friends, J.R. Dukes here. Appreciate you joining me. I want to welcome all my free-minded friends as always. We are going to talk today about the Fani Willis case. It is the case that never stops giving. I am so outraged at this case. I cannot believe Fani Willis is technically still on the case, but it's not over till it's over. Without any further delay, here we go.
The defense lawyer who led the failed efforts to oust Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from the Georgia election interference prosecution of Donald Trump and 18 co-defendants is speaking out now. Ashleigh Merchant, who represents Michael Roman, he's a former Trump campaign official and a co-defendant in this case, was the lawyer who filed that motion that rocked this prosecution, revealing the romantic relationship between District Attorney Willis and the now former special prosecutor in this case, Nathan Wade. That motion to disqualify Willis from the case was denied by Judge Scott McAfee, but he nevertheless excoriated Fani Willis for how she handled the hiring of Wade and how she testified on the stand, saying, quote, an odor of mendacity clung to this case. Ashleigh Merchant joins us now. Thanks for being with us. So Judge McAfee, you bet. So Judge McAfee recently said you and the other co-defendants in this case can now appeal his decision to deny your motion to disqualify Fani Willis. Will you? What will you ask for?
Yes, that's what we're actually doing now. So we're preparing our appeal. He gave us permission, but in Georgia, we have to get also the permission of the Court of Appeals. So that's the next step. So we've got 10 days to ask.
Just a quick note. Remember, folks, we talked about this. In Georgia, they can file what's called an interlocutory appeal, which means an appeal while the case is still going on. The judge has okayed it, and now the Court of Appeals has to okay it. And I'm confident, reasonably confident, that they'll take the case, but we'll see.
Ask the Court of Appeals to grant that same permission. If they do, then the case will go to the Court of Appeals. If they don't, we will ask the Supreme Court also to grant it.
I want to come back to that sequence, but first, you said in your statement after Judge McAfee's ruling that denied this motion, Fani Willis is not disqualified, that you nevertheless feel vindicated by Judge McAfee's order. Why?
You know, there was a lot of tension filing this motion. It was difficult, and I was called a lot of different things, a liar, different motivations in filing it, everything other than just doing my job. And I knew I was just doing my job. So I was very happy that Judge McAfee saw the things that I saw the indecent ways that certain folks responded, and, just the obstruction. Everyone was trying to obstruct us from getting evidence. They filed a ton of motions to quash subpoenas, called me a liar repeatedly, tried to not even get this motion heard. So I felt very vindicated with his statements that this was something more than just lies or, had any improper motives, anything like that.
So Ashleigh, I have to ask you, you described the process here. You've got the Judge McAfee's permission to take appeal at this point. You've got, you're going to go to the appeals court, perhaps the Supreme Court. What do you say to people who say this is an attempt by Donald Trump and the other defendants, Michael Roman, your client, just to delay until after the election to get this out of the campaign?
And I've heard that a lot. I've heard that as a criticism, but the best way to avoid delay would be for Ms. Willis to step aside. Amen. She could have stepped aside originally. She could still step aside. If she chose to do that, there would be no delay because we wouldn't be able to appeal. So she could choose to step aside and this case could move forward. But, just because something might delay a case doesn't mean that I can avoid taking a legal path that I think helps my client.
Yeah, and as what they always forget to tell you and forget to tell me is that as a defendant, you have a right to take your time with the case or to a speedy trial. It is never, never the right of the state or the government to have a speedy trial. That is a right reserved in the Constitution for a defendant. So when you hear the noise out there by these critics that, oh, they're trying to slow it down, they're trying to this, well, the flip side of that is it's the prerogative of the defendant. In addition, none of these people are above the law, and they sure are not below the law. So always remember that.
And I think is the fair result. We just want a due process trial here. We just want a fair trial. And this is the only way that we can preserve his right to a fair trial is by continuing to fight this disqualification issue.
And this motion that you filed, triggered this national spectacle of the district attorney of Fulton County on the witness stand herself. You're questioning her about what you believe are grounds for her disqualification. She's pushing back pretty hard. At one point, she accused you of being confused about the facts. I want to take you back to that moment from right now.
You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020.
So that was the retort. And Willis also said you were lying several times during the trial. So how do you...
I love it when she says, oh, I'm not on trial. These people are on trial. The funny thing is, Willis, it's your rear end sitting in that seat. You sure look like you're on trial to me.
You respond to that really you're just throwing sand in the gears of a prosecution of someone of people, including your client, accused of very, very serious crimes against Georgia state law and against the American democracy.
It's actually a really easy answer because 99% of what we alleged was not in dispute. So all of the facts that I alleged back in January, they did not dispute, probably 99% of them. The only facts that ever were in dispute were really when the relationship started. So, by filing this motion, there were a lot of things that were not known, but later were actually agreed to by the state. And so, all these things that said, oh, you're a liar, 99% of them were proven. And the other 1% that are in dispute are things like when the relationship started. And we believe that we proved that the district attorney was not telling the truth and that the special prosecutor was not telling the truth when they said that it started after she hired him.
Yeah, that was very clear. It was very obvious that she clearly showed that these people lied. And by these people, I mean the whole prosecution, specifically DA Fani Willis and her lover paramour, Nathan Wade, who is now off of the case.
But that's really the only thing that's in dispute at this point. So, the statements that I'm lying and all of that that really, I think that was proven to be wrong. As far as her allegations that, that my client should be on trial, not her, we certainly weren't trying to put the district attorney on trial. We were trying to bring forward and bring to light the efforts that we thought should disqualify her.
And have you done all this in the interests of your client, Michael Roman, or his co-defendant, Donald Trump, who's running for president?
100% for my client. And I did this and I filed this motion on my own. I, did all the investigation, only talked to my client about it. My client knew about the motion. Obviously, he approved it before I filed it, but this was not some type of a colluded effort between other co-defendants or anything like that. And you can see that. That's evident because...
Yeah, and what you have to remember is that she is the attorney for Michael Roman, period. She has an ethical duty. She has all kinds of fiduciary duties to represent, to defend her client, Michael Roman. So all of these talking heads saying she is in the pocket for Donald Trump, so to speak, is just blatantly false.
If you look at the hearings that happened within the week after I filed my motion, Donald Trump's lawyer wasn't even sure if they were going to join it at that point. So it's clear that they hadn't even made that decision yet, whether or not they were going to join it. They wanted to do their own investigation. So I think it's very obvious that we were on an island at the beginning and we were the only ones pursuing.
Yeah, we talked about that too. Remember, originally she was the only one on the island, as she puts it. I even made the comment some time ago that I was somewhat disappointed in Donald Trump's team that they did not uncover these facts themselves, that it had to come down to a tenacious lawyer, a great lawyer like Ashleigh Merchant, to get this situation rolling.
This. And then other people, once they saw all the merits to our argument and saw all of the investigative efforts and knew what really happened, then they joined on, and they were wonderful to do that, but they didn't do that at the beginning. And so I think that answers your question as far as if we were filing it for someone else's benefit.
Fair enough. Ashleigh Merchant, lawyer.
Well, I cannot say enough good things about Ashleigh Merchant. What a phenomenal lawyer, someone that basically came out of left field, so to speak, and now she's on a national stage. Everybody and their brother wants to interview her, including myself. And by the way, Ashleigh, if you're listening, give me a call. The number's at the bottom. Love to have you on the program to have a conversation with you. You're a fantastic lawyer. What a tenacious, what a bright, what a courageous attorney to take on a district attorney like that, like DA Fani Willis. That is not a joke. When you practice in Cobb County, right beside Fulton County, DeKalb County, they're all one family in essence. And now she is marked, in my opinion, and that's no small challenge to overcome. So very good job, Ashleigh Merchant. Right answers right on the spot, a fearless advocate for her client. And Michael Roman is very blessed to have her, in my humble opinion. So, folks, I always appreciate you joining me. Always remember, keep that mind free. Never give up. And until next time, I am J.R. Dukes.